we are, folks, 14 days before the election, 15 days yesterday. Congressman Denver Riggleman, 5th District, lost in a convention to Bob Good. He's no longer the nominee. He's out. So Denver Riggleman, I've been a supporter of Denver Riggleman's for 3 years. When he first ran for governor, I supported him. When he first ran for Congress, I supported him, and we supported him throughout his term. When he ran to get renominated against Bob Good, there was not a bigger advocate or supporter of Denver Riggleman in Virginia than John Fredericks, and not a bigger one in Washington than President Donald Trump. President Trump had Denver's back the whole way. He tweeted for him. He campaigned for him. He raised money for him. He personally asked his people in Virginia to do all they could to help Denver get renominated. He endorsed him in the nomination battle with Bob Good. I personally endorsed him. Our station endorsed him. My political action committee raised and spent thousands of dollars helping his campaign legitimately. Plus, I had him on the air all the time. Plus, we were not exactly kind to Bob Good. Everything we did for Denver, everything we did was for the right reasons. Because the president liked him and because we thought Denver had his back until now. So 15 days before a presidential election in Virginia, where we're behind and struggling to pull out an upset, Denver Riggleman gets on TV, gets on CNN, and throws President Trump under the bus. Throws him under the bus. Let me read what he said on CNN, and then we're going to play the clip. Bonetta is going to be with us at 9 a.m. talking about this as well. Martha Bonetta, who is also heavily involved with Denver. Let me just read a clip, and then we're going to play it. He says on CNN, I think there's going to be a lot of people voting for Libertarian Joe Jorgensen or looking for somebody else right now. What? After all we've done for you? You turncoat? Then he says, I want to vote for President Trump based on USMCA. That's like one thing that Trump did out of 150. But, he says, if he doesn't come out and repudiate this type of insanity, talking about some conspiracy theory, it's hard for military members like me to vote down that line. You have to vote what's right, and I'm going to look for integrity first, and I will consider voting for Joe Biden. Denver Riggleman. Now, 15 days out, I got a news flash for you, Riggleman. Why don't you get off your butt and knock on a door like everybody else? Instead of sitting there, you have been whining about losing to Bob Good for 4 months. And quite frankly, I'm sick of it. Stop whining and do something. You got your butt kicked. Bob Good got 58% of the delegates. You know why? Because you were arrogant. You had hubris. You wouldn't listen to people like me who kept telling you you were losing. Your campaign was inept. You kept telling me about packing a lunch or something, and you got crushed by Bob Good that nobody heard of because Chris Shores and Diana Shores, Bonnie and Clyde, outworked your group. They had no idea what they were doing. And, hey, dude, that's not on me. That's on you. You run your campaign. I don't. And then you're going to turn around with 15 days and throw shade on Trump after we have had your back for 4 years? This is how we get repaid? With 15 days out? Why, Denver? So you can run for governor? So you can distance yourself from Trump in case he loses? Is that what this is about, Denver? Another run for another office? You've run for 3 offices in 3 years. You're becoming the Harold Stassen of Virginia politics. Then, to make matters even more interesting, you turn around and you invite Bob Good's opponent, Dr. Cameron Webb, Democrat, racist tide, to your distillery for a photo op. So I guess that means you're voting for Webb. Well, you know what? I am sick and tired of people like you in politics who stab us in the back in the final hour for your own personal gain. This has nothing to do with Trump or who you're going to vote for. This is all about your personal agenda because you might want to get elected to another office. Go ahead, Kara. Let's play the clip.
Republican Congressman Denver Riggleman. He is a Republican congressman from Virginia. He lost his party's nomination earlier this year. He recently blasted President Trump's refusal to condemn QAnon. And so thank you, Congressman, for taking the time to talk with us. I want you to listen once more to the president and his supporters last night.
Lock them all up.
Congressman, the FBI is investigating an alleged domestic terror plot to kidnap and potentially harm the governor of Michigan. Is it appropriate or responsible for the president to not only not stop the chanting of lock her up, but then also add lock them all up?
Stop the chanting. You know, thank you for having me on, first of all, but I wish I could give you my bona fides right now on, what I did in the intelligence world, but I can't because I have lifetime obligations.
I am sick and tired of him telling me about what he did. This has been going on with Denver for 4 years. I did this, I did that. I did this, I did that. I did this, I did that. Yeah, we all backed you, Denver. We all backed you, your bona fides. We know you're an intel. We know you planned the Afghan bombing. We know. We get it, okay? All I know is we backed you. We had your back. You put us in a tight spot. And the first opportunity you have, you throw Trump under the bus with 15 days to go for absolutely no reason but your own personal gain. Go ahead.
Thank you for having me on, first of all, but I wish I could give you my bona fides right now on, what I did in the intelligence world, but I can't because I have lifetime obligations where I can't say that how bad things really are when it comes to conspiracy theories or people that are actually planning to do harm to sitting officials. There's a real danger of cascading effects, right? When you say something bad, sometimes people believe it. And right now, when you look at tyranny, when you look at people that are uninformed, QAnon and conspiracy theories are really the vessel through which ignorance flows. And if you continue to hype this rhetoric or you don't tamp it down immediately, it can lead to very damaging things. And I think making light of any executive that has a kidnapping plot against them is very dangerous.
In fact, Michigan's Attorney General told me last night she believes the president's earlier tweet to, quote, liberate Michigan was partly responsible for this plot to kidnap her. We also learned this group may have been targeting the governor of your home state of Virginia, another state Trump singled out.
Stop. There's no evidence to Virginia. And, when he said liberate Virginia or liberate Michigan, it had nothing to do with kidnapping people. It was about open up the economy so people could get back to work and go back to school. Give me a break. And Denver's going to sit there and buy into this stuff 15 days out? We had your back, dude, for 4 years. We had your back. No matter what you did, no matter what you said, we had your back. And this is how you repay your friends? This is your answer with all your credentials, all your bona fides that I got to hear about? You're bona fide to this and bona fide to that, and intel this and intel that? And this is how you repay Trump for intense loyalty and putting himself on the line when your campaign was totally incompetent and couldn't beat a challenge back from a guy that nobody heard of with no money, and he got 58% of the vote? And it didn't matter if he had a couple of people on his payroll at the end of the day, okay? If you got 52%, maybe, got 59% of the vote, you got crushed. And all I heard from you was how you were going to win, and you had this great ground game. You had crap. And Bonnie and Clyde made mincemeat out of your campaign. And we stood by you. When you married that couple, the gay couple, there was not a bigger advocate and defender of Denver Riggleman in Virginia than John Fredericks. Not one. I defended you. I blasted those that censured you, and I was all in, and so was the president. And this is the way you repay him? Go ahead, roll the tape.
Really are when it comes to conspiracy theories or people that are actually planning to do harm to sitting officials. There's a real danger of cascading effects. Right? When you say something bad, sometimes people believe it. And right now, when you look at tyranny, when you look at people that are uninformed, QAnon and conspiracy theories are really the vessel through which ignorance flows. And if you continue...
Who the hell cares? I don't even know what QAnon is. If you offered me right now $10,000 to tell me what it is, and I'm on the air 20 hours a week, and I own outlets and newspapers, if you offered me $10,000 large right now, I couldn't give you an answer. I don't know what QAnon is. I don't do Alex Jones. I could care less. I'm trying to save the country from court packing and whatever else the liberals are trying to do. QAnon. Are you kidding me? Go ahead.
Really are when it comes to conspiracy theories or people that are actually planning to do harm to sitting officials. There's a real danger of cascading effects, right? When you say something bad, sometimes people believe it. And right now, when you look at tyranny, when you look at people that are uninformed, QAnon and conspiracy theories are really the vessel through which ignorance flows. And if you continue to hype this rhetoric or you don't tamp it down immediately, it can lead to very damaging things. And I think making light of any executive that has a kidnapping plot against them is very dangerous.
In fact, Michigan's Attorney General told me last night she believes the president's earlier tweet to, quote, liberate Michigan was partly responsible for this plot to kidnap her. We also learned this group may have been targeting the governor of your home state of Virginia, another state Trump singled out to, quote unquote, be liberated. Is the president inciting potentially domestic terrorism?
Ralph and I, we know each other. I don't know Gretchen Whitmer. I don't know if he's inciting, terrorism or is he inciting these type of acts. I think, liberate Michigan or things like.
Excuse me? What did he say? I don't know if the president is inciting terrorism because he says liberate Michigan and liberate Virginia and liberate other states when they're shut down and businesses are going under and people can't put food on the table and can't send their kids to school. And you sit there on CNN and say, I don't know if the president of the United States is inciting terrorism because I have the bona fides. Look at me, I'm Denver Riggleman. I'm all powerful. I ran for Congress. I have bona fides. I'm the great and powerful Denver Riggleman. Listen to me, I shall enlighten you Trump voters, even though I used you to try to get renominated, and I used the president. I am the great Oz Denver Riggleman, behind the curtain, the all-powerful, omnipotent. The president is inciting terrorism. I don't know if he's doing that, but I will be the grand Pumbaa, the grand arbiter of the truth, because I am the great and powerful Denver Riggleman. Go ahead, roll the tape.
God, I don't know if he's directly meaning that. The issue that we have is that this is it's evidence that's been building up with this type of rhetoric for some time. And that's the issue that we have, right, is that you have to be very careful about what you say after bad things are already happening, especially when you see conspiracy theories like QAnon that's also just lately, and you probably know this, Anna, said we should hang Vice President Biden because, he was the one who was responsible for SEAL Team 6 dying. And that's the issue that we have, is that you can't have autocracy like that. Where we go one, we go all. That's really what QAnon's motto is. And some of these conspiracy theories have these interesting mottos. That's from a movie. It's fictionalized, right? And that also could be the motto for Lemmings. We've got to stamp out this ignorance. And, before you know it, we're going to have somebody saying that we should be spraying Gatorade on crops, like from Idiocracy. We can't go this line. We can't go down this line of people acting like this. It's irresponsible and it's dangerous.
And the president himself continues to encourage groups like QAnon. In fact, this is what he said this week when he was asked again about whether he would denounce this group.
I know nothing about QAnon.
I just told you.
I know very little. You told me, but what you tell me doesn't necessarily make it fact. I hate to say that. I know nothing about it. I do know they are very much against pedophilia. They fight it very hard, but I know nothing about it.
They believe it is
if
a satanic cult run by the deep
state.
state.
The subject. I'll tell you.
So the president was given another chance to condemn this far-right conspiracy group. He didn't take it. What did you make of his answer?
It has to happen. First of all, do you know who's against pedophilia, Anna? Everybody who's not a pedophile.
Right.
Everybody. I mean, everybody that's not a pedophile. And that's what I find a little bit ludicrous about this is that, a lot of conspiracy theories, I'm sorry, my background in domestic terrorism and counterterrorism, a lot of conspiracy theories actually start with something that seems innocuous, like save our children, right? Well, guess who talked about love and bringing people together and doing these incredible things for those and having a community where everybody's accepted? Jim Jones, right? So, you can't do this. You've got to look what's deeper. You got to go underneath the hood and see what's going on out there. And we certainly don't want our country to turn into a reality show. We got to know between truth and what's not truth. And that means that public officials have to have facts and they have to do the research to really present a message that's cogent. And if we don't do that, we really run the risk of having sort of this unlogic or non-truth running our political discourse. And I think that would be awful, Anna. It would just be awful.
It's refreshing but unusual to hear a Republican lawmaker say what you're saying. But now, because we're just a couple weeks out from the election, we are starting to see some Republicans at least publicly criticize the president. We heard Senator Ben Sasse on a call with constituents saying, among other things, the president, quote, kisses dictators' butts. Today, in the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, there's this about Republican Senator John Cornyn. Quote, Cornyn initially described his relationship with Trump as maybe like a lot of women who get married and think they're going to change their spouse, and that doesn't usually work out very well. Cornyn continued, I think that what we found is that we're not going to change President Trump. He is who he is. You either love him or hate him, and there's not much in between. What I tried to do is not get into public confrontations and fights with him because, as I've observed, those usually don't end too well. As someone who's been endorsed by the president and defended the president and now become critical on the way out the door, is your party in an abusive relationship with the president? And are they now having buyer's remorse?
I think, I think you know my history a little bit, why I'm going out the door. It's that, when President Trump says something I agree with, I did. But when he didn't, I didn't. And that got me in a bit of trouble. And as you know, officiating a same-sex wedding, being for pre-existing conditions, voting to open the government, all of this stuff is what I got hit on. And then, I sort of got railroaded out of it. And I think that's the issue. I think we have people that are afraid to say what's needed.
Stop.
Listen.
Stop whining, Denver. Just stop. You got railroaded out of it. You got 41% of the vote as an incumbent with $5 million in the bank. Stop. Okay? You're becoming the Harold Stassen of Virginia politics. And what? The president went with you on everything you did. There was never a time where he criticized any of your votes or your policy. And he endorsed you 100%, and you begged him for those tweets, and he did that, and now you throw him under the bus because you want to run for governor? Fair weather Denver. That's all you are, Denver. Fair weather Denver. Let's just call it like it is, okay? You want to run for governor. You're looking for a lane. You're looking for the never Trump vote. Okay, I get it. 15 days out. Hey, thanks. Thanks, Denver. Go ahead.
I don't work for the president. I work for the people of the district, the 750,000 people.
Stop.
And I'm not a big fan of autocracy.
Well, they fired you, Denver. They fired you. You got 41% of the vote. All your Ubers, all your chest banging, all your bona fides, all your money, everybody working for you like me, and you got 41% of the vote. So you got fired. So don't be telling me about your working for your district. They fired you. Sorry. Get over it. Get over yourself. Go ahead, Denver. Run for governor. Go ahead. Then after that, you can run for Senate, and after that, you can run for something else. 15 days to go, and you're on CNN throwing the whole campaign in Virginia for Trump under the bus. Thank you. Hey, thanks, Denver. Thank you. Thanks for having our back like we had your back, Mr. Bonafides or whatever you think you are. Unbelievable. Go ahead.
I gave a note to the Constitution. I fought for this country. And really, it's a disservice and disrespect to service members when you see, conspiracy theories sort of put out there or perpetuated. But right now, you have to tell the truth. You have to say facts. And if QAnon is ridiculous, it's absurd, it's ignorant. If you have conspiracy theories like that, you can't pander to the fringes just to make things happen. And that's the thing. I was never in politics, I got into politics. I thought I could make a difference. This has been the most humbling thing I've ever went through. When I'm trying, I get, endorsed by the president at the same time I'm getting my teeth knocked in. It has been an absolute bizarre 2 years of my life, to get into this. And I would say it's been one of the most humbling things I've ever been through, and actually a little scary, too.
Quickly, if you will, who will you be voting for in November?
Well, I'm telling you right now, some of the policies of President Trump helped my rural district, and I was leaning that way. But I think there's going to be a lot of people voting for Joe Jorgensen or looking for somebody else right now when you see the candidates. I want to vote for President Trump based on USMCA, based on what he did on criminal justice reform. But if he doesn't come out and repudiate this time of insanity, it's hard for military members like me to vote down that line. You have to vote for what's right, and I'm going to look for integrity first, and that's where I'm going to be voting that day. And if people don't like it, again, I really don't care.
Would you consider voting for Joe Biden?
I would consider it. I'm a free-thinking American. I'm going to consider voting for everybody, regardless of party, because I think you've got to put people over party at some point. And I think you're going to find people looking for a third party or unaffiliated or independent candidates, almost like this courageous center that says we've had enough of this. And the fact that I haven't been in politics long and I've had one of the most bizarre 2 years of my life, it gives me the freedom to say what needs to be said. And I think what we're talking about right now is we have got to stop the insanity of conspiracy theories. And I think the only way to do that is to stop conspiracy theories that are anti-Semitic, really, and that are fictional, and really combines the protocols of the elders of Zion with Dr. Sleep from Stephen King. That's ridiculous, Anna. It's hard for me. I don't even have the words. I want to use military terms that are very harsh, but I'm on national television, and I just think it's ridiculous, and I think people need to look at the facts themselves and not get it from one source.
So you might vote for Joe Biden. Very upset by this. Very upset by it. We had this guy's back for 4 years. And here's what we get. Because he's trying to get a pathway to run for governor. Unbelievable. John Fredericks Radio Network.